You're standing on low ground. Look around you. The peaks of where you want to be are shrouded in fog, towering over you, mocking your position. The world has told you that this place, this valley of beginnings, this ditch of disadvantage is a sign of failure. It has taught you that if you don't start at the top, you've already lost the war. Another lie fed to you by a world that fears the climb. Low ground is not defeat, it is a strategic advantage. It is the first hill you must take before you storm the goddamn mountain. This isn't a place of shame, it is a fortress of observation. From down here, you can see every weakness in the fortifications above. You see the paths the complacent ones ignore. You feel the terrain under your feet, a privilege the kings in their castles have long forgotten. This low ground is your proving ground, the sacred dirt where you begin the long, bloody, upward charge. Stop cursing your position and start using it. And the resources you have, they feel like nothing. A rusty sword, a shield made of wood. You look at the armies of others with their gleaming steel and their banners waving in the wind, and you feel the familiar poison of inadequacy creep into your soul. You think this is weakness. You are wrong again. Starting small is not a sign of weakness. It is the forge where true warriors are tempered. An army given everything from the start never learns the art of repair, the genius of improvisation, the savage creativity born from having nothing but the will to survive. That rusty sword, it forces you to learn how to make every single strike count. That wooden shield, it teaches you footwork, agility, and the vital instinct to not get hit in the first place. You are not being deprived, you are being trained in a way the privilege can never comprehend. Weakness doesn't come from having less, it comes from surrendering before the battle even starts. It's the internal cave-in, the silent negotiation where you decide you are not enough before the first arrow has even been fired. It is the most profound act of self-treason. The real battle is not against the man with better armor. It is against the voice in your own head that tells you your armor isn't good enough to even enter the fight. So what is the first action? Do you charge out into the field with your rusty blade, hoping for a miracle? Only a fool does that. Charging into life unprepared is marching blind into a minefield. You will be a casualty before the campaign even gets a name.
The first action is to prepare in the dark. While they sleep in their high towers, you sharpen your tools. Preparation is warcraft. It is the sacred, unsexy, solitary work of getting ready for a fight that no one else can see is coming. The unprepared are the ones who get slaughtered before they can even draw their swords. They are the ones who react. They are the ones who are always on the defensive, always putting out fires, always scrambling to catch up. They mistake movement for action and chaos for progress. You will not be one of them. You will wage the war in your mind and in your training ground long before you ever set foot on the open field. You will study, you will practice, you will drill the fundamentals until your hands bleed and your mind can perform the task on autopilot. You will become so intimately familiar with the anatomy of your coming struggle that you can anticipate the enemy's moves before they even conceive of them. You prepare not just to fight, you prepare to win. This preparation has two fronts, the physical and the mental. They are not separate. They are a single weapon system. You must sharpen your mind and body. Your skill is the blade. Your discipline is the cutting edge. A dull blade, no matter how strong the arm swinging it, will just bounce off the enemy's armor. That's your skill, the craft you hone, the knowledge you acquire. It has to be sharp, precise, and lethal. You must obsess over it. But a sharp blade without a brutally refined edge is useless. That edge is your discipline. It is the unyielding consistency you apply every single day. It's what makes the blade cut deep. It's what separates a weapon from a piece of metal. Your discipline is the relentless grinding that gives your skill its bite. One without the other is a monument to wasted potential. To wage this war effectively, you must be agile, you must be fast, and you cannot be weighed down. Look at your life. The clutter, the possessions, the digital baggage, the toxic relationships you carry around from past failures. All of it is weight. All of it is slowing you down. You must live light so you can move fast. Excess weight will slow your charge. This is a call for ruthless minimalism in every aspect of your existence. Conduct an audit. What in your life, in your room, on your phone, in your head, is not actively serving your campaign? Identify it and jettison it. Without ceremony. This is not about trendy aesthetics. This is about combat effectiveness. A warrior burdened by a heavy pack filled with useless sentiment cannot sprint to the breach. He cannot pivot when the enemy flanks him. Cut the ropes, drop the dead weight, become lean, swift, and lethal. With this newfound lightness, you begin the assault. But it's not one single glorious charge. That's a movie fantasy. The real siege is a long, grinding war of attrition. You win it inch by inch.
Small victories each day are the spears that break the enemy's walls over time. The enemy is the fortress of your old habits, your old self. Every time you get up on the first alarm, you've thrown a spear. Every time you do the workout you promised you'd do, you've thrown a spear. Every time you choose the difficult task over the easy distraction, you've thrown a spear. Each one alone seems insignificant, a tiny crack. But 1,000 spears, hitting the same spot on the wall, day after day, week after week, they don't just crack the wall, they obliterate it. They create a breach. Stop looking for the one magic cannonball that will win the war in an instant. It doesn't exist. Start obsessing over the daily production of your spears. The consistency of your small, aggressive actions is the most powerful siege weapon you possess. But how you throw those spears matters. Blindly hurling them in the general direction of the wall is a waste of energy. Effort without strategy is just flailing in the dark. It is noise. It is chaos. It achieves nothing but your own exhaustion. Precision turns strikes into victories. You must have a plan. You must know exactly where on the wall you are aiming. You must identify the weakest point and focus all your fire there. This is where your mind, sharpened in preparation, becomes the ultimate targeting system. What is the one habit that, if you changed it, would cause a cascade of positive effects throughout your entire life? That's your target. What is the one skill that, if you mastered it, would render a dozen of your other weaknesses irrelevant? That is your target. Aim your effort. Stop flailing. Start striking with intent. There will be obstacles. You will push, and the world will push back harder. The path you so carefully planned will be blocked. A door will slam in your face. A gatekeeper will deny you entry. This is not a signal to retreat. It is not a sign that you chose the wrong path. It is a test. If your path is blocked, you carve a new one. Do not stand there waiting for the gate to open. Do not beg for permission to pass. You are a force of nature, not a guest waiting to be invited in. The warrior finds a way or makes one. If the gate is iron, you go over the wall. If the wall is too high, you go under it. If you cannot go under it, you will smash your way right through it, brick by bloody brick. Your forward momentum is a sacred vow. You will not allow it to be halted by the constructions of lesser men or the whims of circumstance. You adapt, you overcome, or you obliterate the obstacle. These are your only options. Who are you in this campaign? Are you the one giving the orders or the one mindlessly taking them? If you do not control your direction, you're just another pawn in someone else's campaign. Right now, your attention, your energy, your time, it's being directed by forces outside of you. The algorithms on your phone, the expectations of society, the demands of people who do not have your best interests at heart. They are all playing a grand game of chess, and you are one of their disposable pieces. You move where they tell you to move. You are sacrificed for their objectives. It is time to flip the entire board over. You must seize control of your own focus. You must declare sovereignty over your own 24 hours. Your direction must be determined by your mission and your mission alone. This requires a level of savage awareness. You must question every demand on your time. Does this serve my campaign? If the answer is no, it is a mortal threat to your progress. You must learn to be ruthless in the defense of your own direction. You are the general of your own life. Start acting like it. And as a general, you cannot be distracted by what is happening in the neighboring campaigns. Don't compare your pace. Instead, compare the size of the fire that keeps you moving. Looking left and right at what others are doing is a trap. You see their highlight reels, their polished victories, and you compare them to your own brutal, messy, behind-the-scenes process. It is a recipe for despair. It will extinguish your fire. Their path is not your path. Their race is not your race. Their pace is irrelevant. The only metric that matters is the fire inside your own gut. How hot does it burn? What are you feeding it? Are you feeding it with discipline, with small wins, with relentless forward action? Or are you smothering it with the wet blanket of comparison and the poison of envy? Focus on your own fuel source. Tend to your own internal furnace. A raging inferno in your own soul will propel you further and faster than trying to keep pace with a person who is running on someone else's map. Your presence alone must become a weapon. How you carry yourself matters. It broadcasts your intent to the world. Present yourself like a general stepping onto the battlefield. Every step you take should command attention. This is not arrogance, this is presence. It's in your posture. It's in the way you make eye contact. It's in the economy of your movement. It's in the precision of your speech. It communicates that you are a person of purpose, a person on a mission, a person who is not to be trifled with. You must eliminate the apologetic, hesitant energy that the world has trained into you. Walk as if you own the ground beneath your feet, not because you are better than anyone else, but because you are in absolute command of yourself. Respect is not given freely to those who beg for it. You seize it through the silent, undeniable power of your relentless action and your commanding presence. In this relentless war, you will be attacked. There will be setbacks. You must be prepared for them. You must be durable. Protection is not cowardice. Armor is what lets you fight again tomorrow. Building this armor is your daily responsibility. What is it made of? It is made of sleep. It is made of proper nutrition. It is made of strategic rest. It is made of the solitude you use to fortify your mind. The soft world will tell you that hustle means burning yourself down to the ground. That is a lie. The greatest warriors are not the ones who sprint until they collapse. They are the ones who have the discipline to maintain their war machine. You must armor yourself against burnout. You must armor your mind against the inevitable psychological blows. This isn't softness, it's strategy. It's the professional's approach. Only an amateur goes into a sword fight without a shield. What is the ultimate armor? It's not physical. It is the core of your will. Endurance comes from a mind that refuses to bend, even when the body breaks. Your body is a remarkable machine, but it has limits. It will scream, it will fail, it will beg for mercy. And when it does, your mind must be the iron pillar that refuses to crumble. You train this mental endurance in the crucible of daily voluntary hardship. You build it with every rep past the point of failure. You fortify it every time you choose the cold shower over the warm one. You strengthen it every time your mind says stop and your will whispers keep going. A strong body with a weak mind is a fortress with a traitor guarding the gate. A broken body with an unbreakable mind is a weapon that can still win the war. And the pinnacle of this journey, the ultimate goal, It's not a destination. It's a transformation. Legends are not born. They are carved into existence through a relentless siege on their own limits. There is no divine spark. There is no chosen one. There are only individuals who made a decision. The decision to stop accepting the person they were and to start building the person they could be. They laid siege to their own weakness. They starved their own cowardice. They attacked their own ignorance. Every single day, they woke up and resumed the assault. They carved away the soft, unnecessary parts of themselves with the sharp tools of discipline and pain, until all that was left was the masterpiece. All that was left was the legend. That is the path. It is laid out before you. It begins on the low ground. It is fueled by a fire that only you can tend. It is fought with spears of daily victory and a mind of iron. Look at your life. The poison of comfort sits on your table, waiting for you to take another sip. The easy path is wide, paved, and crowded with the walking dead. The voices of the unprepared tell you to wait, to rest, to be reasonable. This is the moment of your rebellion. The choice is here. Hold the line against your own hunger for ease. Carve your own path. Storm the mountain. The siege is not coming. The siege is now. The enemy is not at the gate. The enemy is you. Begin.